Thank you for sticking with us through that bit of a delay between Groups A and B and C and D, but we are back for our IeSF 2013 World Championship coverage. I am Stress alongside Panky, and we are going into a European clash between the Netherlands and France here.
Quite interested to see where this is going to go. There's a fair bit of national rivalry as far as leagues are concerned already between these two because of the various LCS players and various challenger scene players and things that are from each nation. There's quite a few teams that are mixed amongst the pair, so it's a lot of pride on the line here.
Yeah, there is indeed, and especially on the Netherlands team, there's a fair number of recognisable faces from the European Challenger and somewhat LCS lineups as well. I mean, there's quite a few members of Lowland Lions here in the team from the Netherlands, alongside Metalex, who some of you will remember from Alternate, who is currently in the substitute position for them. So, bans have come out already. Renekton, Shen and Oriana on the side of the Netherlands. Jax, Ari and Israel for France.
Ban's an interesting one, but specifically taken away from that Metalex, and in doing so it has left that first pick open. And that was pretty rapid of that lock-in there from Netherlands. Yeah, not letting Zed slip through and unattended. But Fizz is still here, and so's Cassidy.
Yeah, that's actually a lot that's gone through, and to be honest, that's not surprising at all. It's been quite a while since I've been in a game that Zed either wasn't banned as one of the first bans, or subsequently wasn't instantly picked. Especially on 3.12, which is the patch that we're on, and you talk about Kassadin, there's a hover over there for Netherlands. I don't know, it could be possible to run Zed and Kassadin at the same time, depending on where
Zed
you play
in the top
Zed.
lane or the 2v1. Zed actually does very well in the 2v1 because of his Living Shadow and because of his long range shuriken throws. You can do quite well farming down there, and I mean, then you're just going to use him to split push later on anyway. So why not put him in a top lane like that? If you can get both of these two assassins, maybe give it a shot. I am a little bit intrigued here as well by France's first pick of Nami too. She is a very uncommon support nowadays. She had a resurgence, she had her release was a little bit flat and never really saw a use of her. She had a couple of number changes and then suddenly she exploded and everyone wanted Nami, and then she kind of vanished again without really too much direct impact. She wasn't nerfed, she wasn't changed directly, but other people were changed around her and she became a little bit lower down the pecking order. But France have obviously got something up their sleeve, and I'd suspect with that Caitlyn hover over, it's going to be a 2v1 situation. They are just looking to lane swap it, because Caitlyn Nami is a lot of harassment in that 2v1 thanks to the buff Nami can apply that increases or applies magic damage and applies a slow on Caitlyn's auto attack, so you can really punish someone if you are 2v1ing them.
Yeah, and we saw that earlier in some of our games with Denmark, where they would rotate around so that Corki wasn't in the 2v1, and
Syndra support!
Now this is something that I was gonna say, I kind of feel like I'm watching Lowland Lions in this game, because there's so many members of Lowland Lions that I'm probably going to end up calling them that at some point, and this is something that I've seen them do a few times. They're not the only team to do it as well. There are a good few teams that in Europe that do try this from time to time. But Syndra has not only a surprising amount of damage, as Syndra does biggest burst damage at 6 when she's building AP of pretty much any champion in the game, but her harass and crowd control is so very difficult to deal with in lane.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, that's for sure. And I mean, more than anything else, if you're just not expecting it, you're not used to it, you don't know what she does, like, exactly anyway, you can have a rough idea if you're not 100% sure of how things are going to go down. Like we saw in the very first game today, Shen v Kha'Zix in that top lane. That first blood did not need to go to Godbros Kha'Zix if our poor Shen had just understood the matchup a little bit better and knew what kind of damage he was expecting. Then you can just catch people off guard by picking something that they do not expect and do not understand. So it's all up to the French guys and see how safe they do or do not play as to whether they can be exploited. We'll be interested to see exactly whether they go 2v2 or what for this, because I still imagine even with that unconventional support, Syndra Corki should not really win that bottom lane 2v2.
Yeah, that's a very interesting situation. As you're saying, I think we kind of have to expect that they're going to be swapping around their lanes here. I wonder whether France will end up trying to call that and swap their own lane up towards the top lane as well. But there's a couple of champions we don't see all that often, well, depending on whether they're banned or you just don't see them, is Zed, as we mentioned. Very rarely in a game. Aurelia is not seen a lot these days. I mean, it was discussed that potentially she was coming back into favour with some of the itemization changes that happened towards the end of the last few patches, but really just hasn't been picked up all that much in general. And Nami, once again in the support position, is another one that we haven't seen in a little while. So a couple of new things, couple of standard things, and a couple of surprises in this game already between the Netherlands and France.
Well, here's the thing with the Netherlands team as well, though. There's not too much peel in that. I mean, Elise can go fairly tanky, fine, and she's got a stun. That's about it. And Syndra's going to have a knockback and a stun and a slight slow, and that's about it. But other than that, when the French team want to go, when Jarvan EQs in, when Irelia dashes onto Corki, Kassadin or Zed, once they've used that initial escape ability, they're going to be stuck on, and they're going to be there, and there's going to be a lot of damage probably coming from Irelia, because that's what Irelia does. So NL shouldn't win a straight-up team fight. Now, that's not to say they won't. There are still many situations in which they can do, but they shouldn't do. So they're going to be looking for little skirmishes, catching people off guard in the jungle, 2v3s, 2v1s, 3v2s, these kind of things, just when they outnumber people, when they can use their sheer assassin-y burst comp to blow through a squishy target to a little bit out of position, whether it be Caitlyn at the start of a fight that's just one step too far to the right or on the wrong side of a wall, or very much Nami while she's warding just gets popped and jumped on by Kassadin or by Zed or whoever may be there at the time, because there's so many people, so many threats in that fight, that the French squad are going to have to be on their toes at all times to make sure they do not get insta-popped when they're coming out of a push.
Yeah, and really that is just what this team composition is made up to be, is we'll kite back away from you when you're trying to chase us, and then pick you off one at a time when we can find you in the jungle. Just so much escape ability on the side of the Netherlands. We'll see how they can use it to their advantage as we are into the game between these two. Of course, best of one here in the group stages of IeSF's 2013 World Championships. Earlier, we already saw Korea victorious in Group A, with Denmark following them up in second. We'll see who indeed comes out of, I believe this is Group D that we're in currently.
I believe it is, as entirety of the French lineup stand on that ward that was placed earlier on by Syndra. She got in there very quickly while they were still preparing, and there's that spider goes through just to point out to them that they were spotted. Another quick pause, whatever this may be for. And these guys are on land, these guys are on PCs they're not used to, so there may be some technical issues.
Yeah, there's always a couple of little tweaks that you have to do when you're playing on your first game of the day on these different systems. It's not too uncommon for there to be a couple of little bugs in the system. So we'll hopefully be able to get underway shortly.
Those pesky millennium bugs.
About 13 years too late for that one, though. It's and also
makes you feel really old.
I know, right? Also, not only that, unfortunately, France didn't decide to put forward Millennium for this tournament, so...
Very much so, yes.
I'm sure this French team is is very capable of contending here. Of course, this is the World Championships, so no team really wants to go home without putting their best team forward.
Of course.
Nevertheless, this is an important game for what could be the decider between some of the stronger teams in this group. I believe the rest of this group for Group D is... the group in total is the Netherlands, France, Spain, and Austria. So, all European group there. We'll see exactly who comes out victorious. Over in the other group that is going on, Group C, it is Belgium, South Africa, Israel, and Finland. So a little bit further afield some of those teams have come from, but that will be an interesting group nonetheless.
I want to have a quick look down the items and the start here from these guys. Ruby Crystal first item from Nami. And of course, then using the masteries to get that biscuit and that one ward. But that's all she has. She spent her entire gold on health. So, really intrigued to see where they plan to put her and what the hell they plan to do with her.
Yeah, that's quite a different opening to what we normally see. I'm wondering whether that's to try and rush a Sightstone very early and then try and get slightly later wards, if that makes sense. I don't know whether that's the best way of starting, because they're going to lose a lot of control.
Here's the thing. If you are 2v1ing, then you're going to get a lot of time that you know you're free of ganks, because the jungler's going to go up to the other side of the map and look after their 2v1 laner so that he stays safe. So you don't need to ward against him, you don't need to know when he's gone. Providing your mid laner calls the MIAs a lot, then you'll be fine. But they're not doing that. They're sending them 2v2. The junglers aren't going to be needed in those situations. Now, they will expect to go to the top at about the 3.5 minute mark. And they will expect her to be around there till about 4. And so she shouldn't turn up to the bottom lane until about 4.5 minutes. That's still not enough time for Nami to get what she needs to finish her Sightstone, get to a situation where it's safe to base without leaving Caitlyn stranded, or even get to a situation where Caitlyn can base with her without losing too much experience and gold to that Corki and giving up the lane advantage that they're going to get by using her increased range early on. So unless they plan to give her some CS, which is just set Caitlyn behind even further, I'm not entirely sure that's going to work.
Yeah, Netherlands just having a couple of computer problems. Hopefully we'll be underway shortly. But another confusing start to this game is that France started going towards mid lane with their jungler, then came back towards blue, and they've actually only just started it, gone 2 minutes. So not only is their vision going to be diminished in that bottom lane, they're also going to be very late to lane here, and you can see Elise is already cleared on her red buff, so the fact they haven't got blue yet is really going to delay this start for Caitlyn and Nami.
Interesting to see Zed top lane again, because as you mentioned, it's very possible it's something we've seen in the past, but it's not something we've seen for a long time, and if I remember correctly, he may in fact lose this matchup to Aurelia, so watching how Morso plays it could be very interesting indeed. And it's the bottom lane. You actually see Syndra and Corki pushing Caitlyn and Nami in, which is not something I ever expected to see at this point in the game.
Yeah, it's all because of that late blue start, and there was just no experience picked up as you would expect from the bottom lane at blue, because of course they want to give all of the experience to Jarvan, so they're going to be very late to level 2. You can see they've already, Metalex and Kialis have already hit level 2, and that is really going to be a problem there for the France bot lane pairing, as they won't have all of their abilities available to them yet. Jarvan taking his own red buff, might get caught out here by Elise, but she'll back off towards her own jungle.
Elise tried to invade there onto Jarvan, tried to see if she could catch him out of the golems, but he was a bit slower than she expected. She had to go around and find him herself at the blue, as it was the red. Sorry, as it was, he was already gone, and he spotted her with his flag. He even suspected that she may have been at the golem because he didn't even go in that direction. He went back to his wraith camp. So, nicely played by. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, by Jarv. But he got out there with his life, and Elise hasn't left his jungle yet. She took the majority of that wraith camp, left one up, now back and done the same thing at golems, and is behind his Aurelia.
Yeah, they're going to land that ignite with the cocoon. That will be enough damage to take her down for the first blood. That goes to Bro, and instantly you can see the effect that late start has had on the game for France. Jarvan not quite able to get into the position that he needed to counter gank that, and that puts the Netherlands at 1,000 gold advantage.
Corki Syndra putting a lot of damage down onto this French bottom lane, and there's not really much of a retort, and Nami's about to run out of mana too, so she's not going to have as much left to heal. That may have been, in fact that was definitely her last one. Very nice combo from Syndra, landing that stun and even more damage, putting Caitlyn in all kinds of horrible positions.
Yeah, 28 CS to 11, and this is looking like a the same as the Denmark game earlier, where they just managed to take a big advantage in that bottom lane and snowball it through into a very strong early mid game and push down a lot of towers very quickly with the team and end up making it so that their opponents couldn't come back. We'll see whether the Netherlands can do that. They are a very well experienced set of players. Can they work together to get that done? You can see France taking so much damage down in this bottom lane.
I mean, yes, there's a lot of damage down here. Yes, this is a lot of harass, which is allowing Corki to get ahead and maybe even picking up a kill. Force the barrier in the ignite. It's ticking.
Ooh.
Flash forward from Syndra. The attack will pick it up. That's what I was about to say. That strength, yes, that's great. That's good. But what else can Syndra do? When a gank comes in, she's not going to be too useful unless she lands that perfect stun. And honestly, if Jarvan arrived a little bit sooner, if Jarvan perhaps gone through the tri-bush in the bottom lane instead of heading towards that top lane Aurelia earlier on, on a bit of a crazy gank path, they could have completely turned this lane on the head, putting, say, first blood or even the second kill if they'd already killed Aurelia top, on towards Caitlyn or even onto Nami. Then I honestly think this Corki Syndra lane would be falling apart right now, but because they've been given free reign to just push it in the tower, completely harass down that Caitlyn and punish her without any kind of retort, that snowball is now too large, and if Jarvan comes down now, he's in danger of getting 3v2'd and giving up a kill.
And it's not only the bottom lane that's going in favour of the Netherlands. Look up at the top. We did see that early kill go on to Elise, but because of that, Aurelia was out of lane, and Zed has now established total lane dominance. 46 CS to 20. Already has that Vampiric Scepter alongside the Doran Shield, and he's just going incredibly hard on towards Aurelia. Will pick up the kill, forced to flash out, but the kill was what he wanted from that, and he did get it.
So, I mentioned in fact they fought Jarvan in the bush, and there's an ult comes across from Kassadin, misses the Q, gets stunned up. Jarvan will just about get out alive. He drops his flag, but he doesn't have the mana to Q across.
Yeah, Syndra has found Nami, however, and Kialis is looking to stun it. Does land it in that tri-bush area. The tower's still up, though. Someone should tell the Netherlands that they aren't quite that far ahead. That tower is still there. Bro's going to play very dangerous. He takes a big tower shot, and Caitlyn and Nami still, even so, they really are not safe around this tower. As soon as Corki manages to push this up with the wave, this could be a very dangerous time for France. They will take down Caitlyn. Repel comes up to drop the tower aggro. That's a double kill for MetalX.
Yeah, beautifully done. Penned them in, kept them low, pushed the tower in, and dodge of the aggro. Very nicely done. Syndra stunned one target, Lily stunned the other, and they just nuked them down one after the other. Now, Aurelia, as I mentioned before, should have won that top matchup, but that first blood going to Zed set her a long way behind, and you can see now 40 CS down. And because of the level advantage you got too, you really made the most of that, picking up that kill there. So she is way too far down, and as a result, she can't go back to that lane now. She knows it, letting him kill the tower.
Geotech gets cocooned to MetalX. And Gragas is normally quite a tanky, higher health mid laner, just gets removed from the map.
So here's the situation that France really did not want to be in at all costs. 4 basically, Nami, Syndra's not quite there yet, but 4 fed assassin burst champions. There's nowhere they can go now where they can kill one person without at least losing one in return. So that assassin will unload their full combo on someone, and that person will then die. Now, they could try and 5v5. But still, with 5 assassins pulling one person down each, chances are you're going to come out behind because of how far ahead these assassins are. You're not going to kill one of them in all full combo. They're going to kill you in their full combo.
Morsu's going to have to all in Aurelia here. Does take the tower. Aurelia still only level 5. Doesn't quite pick up the kill. But Morsu just face tanked a lot of Aurelia's damage there, taking out that top tower. And that big level advantage as well as CS and items. This is making that lane impossible, and Valkyrie in the bottom lane as Nami is trying to get away. That Syndra burst damage comes out, flash forward for the rocket barrage. That is another kill for Corki.
Just the base damage of Syndra very high there. Oh, top lane Aurelia falls down to Zed.
Cocoon does land, and that's another double kill for Morsu, and not only is he getting the kills, it's 73 CS to 20 in that top lane, and that really is going to be a troublesome Zed to deal with.
This is honestly game over from here on out. Like, the Netherlands have got to screw up really badly to throw this game away now, because every fight they take, they should just simply win. They are so far ahead. They have purely damage-based champions. There is enough on that French team to really disrupt them. Greg Assault's there, Java Knockup's there. Nami's going to have a bubble, but it's not too difficult to dodge when you've got so many dashes abilities and flashes that they really cannot be stopped. There's no lockdown on that French team. You can't find a squishy champion, find one of these squishy assassins, hold them in place and nuke them on the spot. They are all very slippery and you cannot CC all of them at once. So someone in that team is going to come in and nuke you down.
Cocoon did land the Rift Walk over the wall with the Repel as well. Can they land the last bit of damage? Kassadin's going to look for it, will pick up a kill, and that's actually the first impact that Kassadin has had on this game. And for a game that's such skirmish-based with this team composition, to get to the 11th kill and it being the first one for Kassadin, that's something a little unusual when we normally see a Kassadin.
The question now becomes, who's the first Netherlands player that's gonna die?
That's a good question.
My money is on Metalex because it's Metalex, but we'll have to wait and see.
Oh dear. Well, they are pushing on towards a mid-turret, but they've seen something that's distracted them. They catch on towards Nami. You can see the damage already being laid down, and Metalex might be looking to try and distract them to the point where Kialis can land a stun, but Kialis can't quite get the angle right, it looks like. Maybe looking to go for it in one of these enclosed little areas. Will land it on towards Nami. That's the kind of angle that Kialis was looking for. Will ultimate over the wall. Ooh, Rocket Barrage would have been enough to pick that one up, but wasn't quite in range for him. Oh, meanwhile, over in mid, Bro actually gets taken down very low as Geotech nearly picks up that first kill for the French team. Bro will recall on the ward, however. We'll see if they can get in range for the ace in the hole, but some good blocking from Metalex and Kialis. They look for the stun, can't quite get it as the flash was used by Caitlyn. The Netherlands are in a very, very commanding position.
No one can 1v1 this Zed down on their own, so he's happy to split push under this tier 2 turret. Does now have company in the form of 3 French players, though. So he's going to have to get out, back and past this turret pretty rapidly. Good wave clear comes down from Irelia, though, forced him to take a couple of turret shots, but he's still got that living shadow to dash away.
And something to notice there is Javan and Nami were coming along. Their levels, when added together, made Morsu's. So that's not a good position to be in. Morsu will go aggressive on towards Javan. Did use that death mark, but couldn't quite land the damage as the flag and drag took him away from Zed. But nevertheless, I don't think a half-health Irelia and Javan are able to duel this Zed, and there's a kill in the bottom lane for Metalex. Picks up another one and goes unstoppable as the rest of his team are busy pushing both top and mid at the same time.
Yeah. There's not much more to say than that. The Netherlands are a long, long way ahead. They've got great champions that can 1v1 down anyone on the French team, so there's no reason to group. If you group, then so can the French team. You don't want them to group, you want them to split so you can 1v1 people, so they are pushing every little lane, every little opportunity in little separate groups. They do now have 3 members in the top lane that has given the French team a chance to slowly close in around them. Let's see if they can pull anything off. I don't think they can, and they realise that and are running away.
Yeah, the problem is Morsu is so strong right now that he could pretty much all in anyone when his ultimate is available. It is about an 1/8 of the way until it will be available again, and as soon as it is, that just makes it incredibly deadly for anyone from France to try and stop him. They do go aggressive on towards Corki, land the barrel, but you can already see the damage is not there as that Trinity Force is just making Corki fairly tanky for an AD carry at this point in the game to be able to survive that kind of burst from Gragas. He does only have the Chalice and the Fiendish Codex, and meanwhile in the top lane they go aggressive. taking down that turret. They've hardly lost any health, and now they're taking down an inhibitor at 14 minutes into the game. Goes aggressive on towards Caitlyn, looks to get that death mark to finish it off. Cocoon does land, Bro sets that one up for himself, and now Morsu wants to go aggressive again. Kialis will pick up a kill in the mid lane as they push down that middle turret. That inhibitor is sure to fall soon as well. The Netherlands are just taking anything they want from this map.
That's one way to put it. Anything they want. And as you said, there you go. That's what happens when you split the team up. They can pick you off one at a time. And that one at a time leads to objective 17-0, and they're on to the Nexus turrets at 15 minutes. Baron has only just spawned.
Yeah. Ace in the hole didn't quite finish the channel there as oh no, he repelled just too late. It did actually fire, but we see it didn't actually do all that much damage right now. Caitlyn only has a Vamp Scepter and a Doran's Blade, so none of her abilities are doing that much, and we're at a point where even though the Netherlands are so far ahead, Elise hasn't even bothered to go back to finish an item, because right now they don't need it. And if you are this far ahead of your opponents without buying items, sometimes there's just not the need to go and do it until you absolutely have to. And now they are attacking the Nexus turrets. Nice bubble does land, followed up by the barrel. That might be a bit of a signal to the Netherlands that they still do have to be a little careful when attacking without a large minion wave.
Syndra definitely does, because that Gragas ultimate could easily nuke through her right now. So yes, they do back away. But not the entire team, because some of them are still fairly strong. They can still easily pick up a couple of kills in a 5v3 engagement, so they're going to keep the pressure up. Someone should have rotated to mid, in my opinion, taking down that tier 2 turret. Okay, they don't need the gold, they don't need it. But a little bit extra map control and a little bit more pressure applied. If they had an extra turret down, could have got a little closer to that inhibitor all the same.
Uh-oh, Morsu, you're on a ward. No, it does time
he was
out,
dead now, and he noticed that and ran away.
Yeah. Luckily he was standing on it and was like, oh, okay, that was good timing by me. But once again, the Netherlands are not going to let up. They are now with these minions pushing through into the middle lane, but super minions are so difficult to deal with this early on in the game, especially when you don't have damage. So that top lane, they have to dedicate at least one, if not two, higher damage champions to that top lane. You can see how much that super minion is tanking, even with a tower hitting it. Just 17 minutes into the game is far too early to deal with waves and waves of minions very quickly. The Netherlands just have free reign here.
Jarvan is doing blue buff. That is a very brave Jarvan, being that far out of the map. Kassadin flash ults forward, immediately goes on Caitlyn, and immediately Caitlyn's dead.
Yeah, the explosive cask will split the pack and puts Kassadin into the tower range, but not enough damage coming out from that yet. And you can see the rocket barrage just keeping Nami at bay. They're waiting for that minion wave in the middle lane so they can actually take down that tower. But as soon as top lane pushes through as well, they can get some more damage down onto these Nexus turrets. The death timers are so low that Caitlyn is already about to be respawned, and France can't even surrender. It's so early into this game.
Have you seen the items, by the way? Because that last shot really shaped it up a little bit differently.
Ah, okay.
Gorky has sort of the occult. We have an attack damage, as Elise.
So I've heard Zed should definitely go Guardian Angel second item, without finishing tier 2 boots first. That's what I'm learning in this game.
Viable builds.
That is going to be a difficult Zed to kill. The stun does land onto two members of the French team. Metlex will take down the first turret. Now look to take down the second. Tidal Wave doesn't manage to hit any of the members.
That's the first Nami ult we've seen all game.
It's the first one that's pretty much been available. That's why.
Yeah, that too.
Stun does land. A massive rocket barrage does hit a couple of members of the French team, and the Netherlands now with the two waves of super minions. You can see they even look at Irelia taking so much damage from those super minions, and Irelia is a champion that should be fairly tanky by 19 minutes. It looks like Kassadin, is he going to be able to survive through this one? The barrel Cataclysm, they do pick up the kill. They pick up the kill on Kassadin, but I am pretty sure this might be a little too late to start that ball rolling.
Metalex takes Gragas to the face, but will finish him off with ease. And the Netherlands easily stroll their way through in a sub 20-minute game to take the first in this group. There's no much more to say than that. They had very strong champions, great assassins. They bullied their lanes, they got ahead in each of them, and they snowballed it through hardcore. Then they kept